5 years from now, you're going to be living one of two lives. Either a life that you designed and created yourself intentionally, a life that fulfills you and gives you the things that you need, or you're going to be living a life that you kind of slipped in accidentally without planning to, a life that was handed to you by circumstances, by friends, by family, a life that you didn't intend to be living and don't want to be living. Those two lives are called your creative future and your default future. And you're creating one or the other of them right now. Stay with me because I'm going to talk about four things that I see that hold people back from that created future and what to do about them, and also why what you're doing today matters an awful lot in 5 years. The first thing that holds people back from this creative future is clarity, not knowing exactly what they want. As the Cheshire Cat said to Alice in Alice in Wonderland, if you don't know where you're going, it doesn't really matter which road you take. You need to be clear about what you want. Now, most people will say, well, I want better relationships. I want more money. I want to be in better health. I want a better job. Those are very common things, but there's no clarity there. What do you mean by a better job? What kind of job do you want? What does a better relationship look like? If you want better health, are you talking about less stress, more agility, more strength, less weight? How much less weight? More money. How much money do you need? It's very easy to track how much money you have. And so a lot of us use that as a benchmark for how we're doing in life, but we never stop to think about how much money we actually need to live the life we want, to live the retirement we want. So, how much money do you want? Or do you want ongoing income? There has to be clarity before you can move forward into that created future. And that's something that I work with people when I coach them right from the very beginning. I want to know, what do you want? Be specific. I don't accept generic, non-specific answers. So take some time to think, what do you want? The next thing that holds people back is a plan. They don't have one. If you don't have a plan, you can't take action. Now, your plan does not need to be perfect. You do not want to be the person that Seneca talks about when he says, the fool is always getting ready to start. In other words, he never starts or she never starts. It's okay to not have a perfect plan. Any plan is better than no plan because any action is better than no action. Even if the action doesn't work because the plan is flawed, you've learned something. And if you analyze why it didn't work, you'll have a better plan for the next time. You'll be able to pivot. You'll eventually succeed. If you read biographies of famous, successful people, they always started out failing in some form or another, and they learned from that and they altered their plan. They altered it again. They altered it until it works. But you have to start with a plan, however imperfect. And again, that's something that I work with when I coach someone. And that's something my coaches worked with me. The next reason that people don't live into their created future is a lack of confidence. Now, let me tell you a story on myself. When I was 12 and just starting junior high, I was required to take swimming lessons. I'd taken some in the past. I could safely get around in the pool, but now I had to go for a higher level of swimming badge. And when I walked into the swimming pool for the first time, they had a big board on the wall that told me exactly what I needed to do to pass the test. Well, I read what was on that board and I thought, there is no way I'm ever going to pass. I can't do any of that. That's way beyond what I can do in the water. I didn't stop to think that what was going to happen is they were going to teach me during the lessons how I was going to do that. They were going to let me practice until I perfected it and was able to pass the test. We look at big goals sometimes and think, well, I can't do that. Well, that's the reason it's a goal. If you're already doing it, it would be an achievement, not a goal. it's okay to start with no confidence. Think of all the things that you can do now that you didn't have any confidence when you started out. Walking, talking, driving a car, riding a bike, doing your job. You see, confidence is not a prerequisite to starting something. Confidence is a result of doing it. And if you just jump in with that plan, however imperfect, learn as you go, confidence will develop as you go. Now, this next point is really closely related to that idea in how it works, and that is a lack of motivation. Somehow we think that if we don't feel motivated to do something, we don't have to do it. We'll wait till we feel motivated. Now, I have read some wonderful books by people that would classify themselves as motivational speakers, and I've learned a lot from those things. But I've also learned that motivation and willpower can be great for getting you started on something, but it won't keep you going. And when something gets hard, when it gets difficult, when there's a little bit of failure, when people maybe laugh at you or make fun of you, tell you, see, I told you so, that wouldn't work, we lose our motivation and we stop. Motivation is exactly like confidence. We find it in the action. When I woke up this morning, I did not want to do my workouts. I've got 3 of them that I do. And yeah, I didn't feel like it. But I knew that once I got started, I would feel like doing it. And that's exactly what happened. I got through that first set of reps and I thought, yep, I can do this. And I kept going until I had it all done. So if you don't feel motivated, do it anyways. Great book on that topic. And I'm sorry, I just thought of this. I forget the author's name, but it's called The War of Art. And it talks about how you just have to do it. You just have to do it. If that goal means enough to you, take the action. The confidence, the motivation will follow. Now, right now, today, with your thoughts, with your plans, with your actions, you are creating your future 5 years down the road. You see, there's no magic door that we pass through and suddenly we're in a future where we've got what we want. You have to do it day by day. There is a single day in each of the next 5 years during which you can take action. And unless you're taking that action, adjusting your plan, it's just not going to happen. There is no magic future. It happens one day at a time. And that's why it's so important today to get the clarity, to make the plan, to start taking action, to pivot and just keep going. Now, I set a goal in my mid 50s and I thought it's going to take me 10 to 12, maybe a little longer than that, 10 to 12 years to bring that to fruition. I made a plan. I failed a few times. I adjusted. I worked with coaches. I got mentors. I took courses. I read books. And I actually achieved all the goals I set within 5 years. Now, what do I have? I have a wonderful life, but I know I can do more. I can do better. And so I'm working on my next 5 year, 10 year, 20 year plan. Start today, set it in motion, and just see where you are in 5 years. You might be amazed. Thanks for watching. In the future, I'm going to do more videos about the gap between where you are now and where you would like to be in life and how to get there. So stay tuned. In the meantime, here's some other videos for you to check out.